All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started here. For those of you who have not yet, we do have refreshments in the back, so please have some of those refreshments. The fresh fruit looked particularly good this afternoon. We do have water on the way. I'm sorry, that would be the ball that I dropped. So we do have water. It will be arriving in the very near future, so I'm sorry about that part. Welcome to the Staff Focus event. This is the event where we have Dr. Khator, President Khator, come in and talk about issues that are relevant to staff. We also have some special guest speakers here today. We have people to talk to us about the COAST program. The Parking and Transportation Department is going to talk to us about some alternative methods for getting to campus. We also have some good information from the Fire Marshal's office, as well as food safety. And then Human Resources has some topics that they want to discuss, including a couple that I am particularly excited about. So again, welcome to Staff Focus. For those of you who don't know, the Staff Council was chartered in 1986. So this is celebrating 30 years of Staff Council. Of course, we're an advisory board to the university, same type of shared governance as the Faculty Senate and the Student Government Association. One of the big things that we do is we make sure that staff are represented on a whole bunch of different university-level committees. So things like the Food Service Advisory Committee, the Faculty Staff Student Traffic Court, so the people who decide whether your tickets are justified or not. Some of those folks come from Staff Council, as well as the Transportation and Parking Advisory Committee, so that we can have a voice that says, no, we really don't want our parking rates to go up. So we do staff many of those committees with Staff Council members. Let's see, there we go. Some of our recent accomplishments, a couple of years ago, we started pushing for an increase in the staff scholarship funding, and that resulted in an increase from $1,200 to $2,000. For those of you who do not use that, please do. That means that $2,000 every semester can go towards your education. Even if you're only taking one class a semester, it's amazing how fast that ends up adding up into another degree, or your first degree if that happens to be the case. We also asked for an increase in the President's Award amounts. They've been $1,000 per award for quite some time now. Unfortunately, that didn't result in an increase in the awards, but it did result in an increase in the number of awards. So more people will actually get those President's Awards than have in years past, and that came directly out of some suggestions that came from Staff Council. We also do provide staff feedback for policy changes, and she's going to be embarrassed, but I'm going to point her out anyway. Peggy Levy on our Staff Affairs Committee is just awesome. She's also the policy and procedure guru for the entire campus and for the UH system as a whole. So all of those MAPs and SAMs, when they get comments and that kind of thing, she's instrumental in that process, as is our Staff Affairs Committee. So I'm personally going to give her a round of applause because she deserves it. For what it's worth, this event, also planned by the Staff Affairs Committee, chaired by both Lynn Smith and Peggy Levy, sitting right there next to each other. By the way, that's a beautiful red dress. All right, we also give out scholarships every year, the Staff Council, and we also take the applications for the Women and Gender Resource Center scholarships. And this year, we're putting together a pilot program for a Take Your Child to Work Day. Has anybody registered for that? I personally have. All right, so I see a few people are going to bring their kids into work on June 9th. Yes, I remembered. That's awesome. So We also have some yearly events. Of course, Cougar First Impressions is the big one. That's the one where we had to actually form a whole new committee just to take care of that particular event. It's one of our longest standing traditions at UH, and one of the big things that we do there is we distribute more than 20,000 bottles of water, and as y'all know, in Houston in August, those are very welcome bottles of water, whether you happen to be student, staff, or faculty. We also do a spring egg hunt every year. That is open to faculty, staff, students, as well as the community at large. This year we distributed more than 5,000 eggs. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and give kudos to the Faculty Senate for providing those eggs. They did a fantastic job making sure that those were given to us. And we have between 300 and 500 attendees each year, depending on weather. Of course, this year it threatened to rain, so we had a little bit less than we did last year. Last year was absolutely beautiful. And actually, it turned out that this year the weather was fantastic as well. It just threatened to rain. It didn't actually. Of course, the Staff Focus event, which is the event that you are at right now, and Conversations with Staff Council we do once a year, where we have our staff members in to come discuss the issues that are on their minds. Of course, we have a great big capital campaign that's going on, and one of the results of that capital campaign is that several of the scholarships that Staff Council handles have seen a fairly dramatic increase in funding, and so that is thanks to y'all, the folks who contributed to those funds. And so our Roger Peters Scholarship, which provides $2,500 each year for a scholarship for somebody going to school here. Our balance increase, it shows that it only increased a little bit, but that was because we dispersed money in February. The B. Renee Milton Scholarship, it's the Students of Staff Scholarship, gives scholarships to students who happen to be children of staff members. And that got a 67% increase. The capital funds ended up increasing that by a fairly good amount. And then the staff development, where eventually we're going to give scholarships to attend either outside the university, other institutions, classes, maybe you're taking classes at HCC or something, or for other professional development conferences, that kind of thing. And we more than doubled the amount of money that went into the staff development fund. So again, thanks to y'all, thanks to the staff members, thanks to the folks that saw that was contributed to. So our first, we do have a number of committees. By the way, we do have nominations opening up today for staff council elections. So the staff council elections this year, we're going to hold over a much longer time period because we're going to open it up and do the entire thing online, with the exception of a few places where we'll have some paper ballots. Our appointments committee handles the appointments to those committees that I talked about, the university level committees. Our communications committee, every time y'all get an email from us, like the one you got this morning about this event, comes from our communications committee, and they do a fantastic job. Are Carl or Troy here? Did I see either of them? All right, Carl Hearn and Troy Christensen are the co-chairs of the appointments committee. I know that Jamie's all the way at the back of the room. Jamie Thomas and Cynthia Johnson, did she make it today? Are the co-chairs of our communications committee. Our Cougar First Impressions committee puts together the CFI event every year, and those co-chairs are Tommy Trevino, waving at you from the back of the room, as well as Dan Oliveras, who I didn't see here today. Likely watching on the streaming. By the way, we are streaming this event today, as well as recording it. So if you want to come back and look at, probably want to look at what Dr. Khator comes to say rather than me. We do have an events committee that plans things like the spring egg hunt, among others, and that is chaired by there's Tanya all the way at the back of the room, and Lear Hickman, who I have not seen yet today. Membership and elections handles all of the memberships and all of our election stuff, so they're gearing up for our elections here, and that's Mark Laney and I know I saw Mark. I sent him to get water, so he's off on a task, as well as Pam Moses. Scholarships and Professional Development handles all of the scholarship applications as well as professional development funds, and that one is chaired by Rebecca Schwartz, who will be here a little bit later, and Jacqueline Chi, who's one of the people taking pictures of this event today. And then I've already mentioned, but they can't be mentioned enough because Staff Affairs is probably the single busiest committee that we've got, which is saying something because Cougar First Impressions is a huge effort, but Staff Affairs is easily as big an effort. So I really, again, would like to applaud Peggy Levy and Lynn Smith for taking care of that. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring up the first of our speakers from the COAST program. And there we go. I didn't actually get your... Eric. All right, so Eric, there you go. Thank you for coming to talk with us. There you go.
All right. The applause for the parking guy. Now, I'm very happy to be here today speaking about COAST. It's a program we launched this past year, and I want to brag for a second and point out that last month it was recognized by the Texas Parking and Transportation Association as the Program of the Year for the state of Texas. So it was a very great accomplishment for us. For those of you who do not know, COAST stands for Cougs on Alternative and Sustainable Transportation, and it was a program we launched this year to try and ultimately reduce the number of single occupancy vehicle trips coming onto campus. By incentivizing public transportation, we set a goal of reducing the need for one additional parking garage on the campus. Likely it will be garage 8 or 9, but it's a net savings of 2,000 spaces in reduced demand, and that will save us about $2 to $2.5 million a year in debt service, which, speaking to parking permit prices, anything we can do to reduce the pressure on those is obviously going to be appreciated by everyone on campus. This year, our highlights. Our first year, we set some, we thought, pretty ambitious goals of having about 750 people join the program. In February, which is kind of the last day we stopped counting, we had almost 2,000 members who had joined. This took our existing commuter program we had for faculty staff, and we brought students into it, we brought carpooling into it, and we're looking at additional programs we can bring into it. So it's really more of a revising and expansion of the existing program. We did manage to offset demand when you configure our campus oversell for 1,200 parking spaces this year. And to give you a scope of what that looks like, that is the entire student section of the East Garage. So in our first year, we are well on our way of offsetting the demand for those 2,000 spaces that we expected to take about 4 years to accomplish. We have 1,423 participants who use Metro, either light rail, local bus, or park and ride bus, and we have over 500 carpoolers and 175 carpools that have joined the program. This year, we also expanded the Metro incentive through COAST for faculty staff. We traditionally were doing a 25% incentive for all faculty staff. We grew the local subsidy for local bus and light rail up to 50%, trying to hone in on a group that we thought might be more likely to jump from their car to a bus because it'd be a shorter commute and quicker access from their home. This year, we also launched our first Lunch and Learn with faculty staff, trying to target those local riders to kind of learn more about it and make the switch. And we're looking forward this coming academic year to doing some more Lunch and Learns with park and rides. I don't know, I'm receiving feedback here from the side. Oh, I didn't realize it was not. Sorry. I didn't understand what this meant. All right, so focusing a little bit more on the faculty staff benefits, what relates to those of us in the room. If you are, again, riding in on a local bus or light rail, local bus meaning it's not a park and ride, you're not driving to a facility and parking, but instead getting on a traditional city bus, we will provide you a Q card, and each month we load $27.50 onto that card. That covers half of your fare for the entire month, with you paying the balance of the $27.50. This actually brings you in comparable, if not less than, what it costs to purchase an ungated permit to park on campus. So through this program, you can get here, not look for a parking space, and actually come out saving a little bit of money. If you're coming in from the park and rides, we provide a 25% subsidy on those. And I gave a couple of examples depending on where you're coming in from. The amount we would provide you is anywhere from about $22 to about $50 a month. You would be left with a slightly larger balance because the park and rides tend to have a higher cost. And we're going to continue looking at, can we get to a model where we can increase that subsidy up to the same 50% we're providing local. It's just that right now the majority of our users are park and ride, and so we have to figure out how to budget that in responsibly. For carpools, if you're a carpool of 3 people, we provide you a 50% discount off a faculty staff parking permit, which are available in any of the garages. If you're a carpool of 4 or more, it's a 75% discount. And what that works out to with 4 people is your annual cost to park each is around $45 versus $725. If you're a carpool of 3, it's a little bit more. You're paying about $121 each versus $725. We are also working to launch a program where you will be able to sign in through a secure portal and find car share buddies. Be able to look geographically at who's in my area, what days are they riding in, and get down to such a micro level of what kind of music do you listen to? Like, can I stand to commute with you? The things that matter. Carpool permits are issued only in the garages, and the reason we're doing that is because our garages and the faculty staff sections have historically not been as utilized, and so the goal of our program to reduce the demand for spaces is to also make the most use of where we have spaces. It is issued to one primary member who would pay for the permit. You then settle up on your own side, and you can move that permit from vehicle to vehicle. Not at one time, obviously, but if one person wants to drive Monday, someone else Tuesday, just move the vehicle across the different vehicles, the permit across different vehicles. Anyone who joins Coast, because you're going to ask the question of, well, what about the day that I can't drive? We do provide you with a reloadable permit that gets you into the garage visitor section 12 times a year, which basically works out to once a month. That is designed to cover those off days where, because you have a doctor's appointment or you have to leave early for a kid's recital or whatever the case may be, we want to give you that flexibility to accomplish those things. And so with this permit, and we give you 1 day entry for each remaining month in the fiscal year. So if you're signing up now for next fiscal year, you'd start off with 12. Obviously, if you join in January, we're going to give you a few fewer. And that covers that constant concern and need of, what do I do when I can't carpool? Now, finally the question, how do you join? Well, we have several different options. You can visit our website, uh.edu/coast. We also have uh.edu/carpool. We have uh.edu/almost everything you can think of. You can email us at coast@uh.edu, and you can come visit us at the Coast office, which is in the stadium parking garage next to Taco Cabana. Ed Bell, who is joining me today, he is our Coast guru ambassador extraordinaire, and he'll be the one that can help you sign up. If you are looking to join a carpool, you do have to have all members come because we ask you to sign a pledge indicating that you're going to do this for the full year, and we get that signature from you. Otherwise, that is all I have on this great program.
All right, thank you. I was told that the cameras didn't respond real well to the low light situation, so I'm going to try to get those turned back on. But in the meantime, I will go ahead and turn this program over to our fire marshal. And I didn't get your name. William. Wendell. Wendell McLeod. There we go. All right, everybody welcome Wendell.
How you doing? Does this advance?
Let me get that for you.
Okay.
All right. Well, all right. There we go. Fire marshals. And now you can use pretty much anything
All right.
to advance it.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendell McLeod. I'm an assistant fire marshal for the UH Fire Marshal's Office. We're located at 4513 Cullen, right across the street from Cullen Oaks Boulevard, or Cullen Oaks Apartments. Who we are, we got the fire marshal, assistant fire marshal, 3 deputies, and a fire extinguisher service person. There's 4 up there. One of those deputies are no longer with us. Here's a photo of our entire group. The food safety girls, they'll be up next. What we do plan reviews. We take plan reviews and go from top to bottom through the building. It'd be the building construction renovations. We do for life safety and other applicable codes. We review fire alarm plans, fire suppression plans for conformance to NFPA codes and standards. Then we meet with architects and engineers to discuss any variances we find. We conduct inspections. New construction, we'll do, like I said, we'll go top to bottom in the building. We'll check elevator shafts, right up, on top of the elevators to check the shafts. Stair pressurization to make sure no air gets in the, no smoke gets in the shafts and the stairwells. We do acceptance tests on fire alarm systems, fire sprinkler systems, any special hazard systems. Existing buildings, we're looking for life safety and fire issues, extension cords, candles, make sure exit pathways are clear. Anything dealing with life safety, unauthorized cooking appliances. We're mandated by other state agencies to conduct annual inspection in residential facilities and child care and educational facilities. That would be like all the dormitories, the child care over at Garrison Gym, and the daycare. Upon completion of our inspections, we do a report and meet with the manager or the building coordinator and go over a plan of action to make corrections. Usually we try to give them about a month to make their corrections. Then we conduct a re-inspection to verify all corrections were made. Our office conducts the fire extinguisher maintenance on all the extinguishers throughout campus. There's approximately 4,500 extinguishers on campus, and one person handles every one of them as far as recharging and testing and inspections. We conduct fire drills. We're mandated by the State Fire Marshal's Office to conduct fire drills in all the residential facilities. We're also mandated to do fire drills in the child care centers once a month. And we conduct a minimum of 8 non-residential buildings each year for fire drills. We do fire investigations. HFD usually responds to all of our fires on campus, but we're responsible for conducting any investigations. Here's one of the fires we had recently. A pickup truck caught fire over at the Campus Rec and Wellness Center. We photograph the scene, determine the cause and origin, collect any evidence, interview witnesses, any person of interest. We complete a report and submit our report to the State Fire Marshal's Office. Every fire on campus, no matter how big or how small, has to be reported to the State Fire Marshal's Office. Emergency response, we respond to all reports of smoke or fire. Any fire alarm calls that the police or security can't handle, we'll respond to them. We respond to reports of gas leaks and unusual orders. We had a student that had a car that had a gas leak and she drove into the parking garage a couple weeks ago, and we had to respond. It took us all morning to take care of that. Clery Act reporting, it's a federally mandated report that we have to do on all crimes, including arson. We maintain a campus fire log for this report, and the reports have to be submitted on an annual security report. Public education, we conduct RA, residential assistant training in each semester for the dormitories. We train incoming police and security officers on fire and life safety issues and how to operate the fire alarm panels. We conduct fire extinguisher training. We have a training kit that we can bring to you or you can come to us. We do fire evacuation training, crowd manager training for the police officers and security officers, and the anti-frame security. We do fire watch training. We require fire watch anytime a fire protection system is going to be out of service more than 4 hours. So we conduct fire watch training to make sure people are trained to know what to do in case of that. We teach the community emergency response team, the CERT, and we guest speak at the Hilton College twice a semester. We provide fire marshal and life safety presence for football games, it's college and high school games, basketball games, that's women's and men's, and high school if they come here for playoffs. We do indoor track meets, graduations, ceremonies, convocations, commencements, any pyrotechnic shows, Frontier Fiesta, March of Dimes, any event where there are a large number of people gather. We issue permits, cutting welding dust. We have to disable the fire alarm systems to make sure that the dust won't set off the fire alarm to evacuate the building. We issue open flame permits for any, mainly it's for outdoor cooking events. We do a permit for fire alarm installation, and those permits are only issued after the fire alarm plans have been reviewed and approved. The same with fire suppression system installations. We do a fire protection shutdown permit in order to know which systems are being shut down and for how long. If it's longer than 4 hours, we have to notify risk management. We do pyrotechnics display permits, tent permits, and building construction permits. And that's all I got. Is there any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You also handle those for the different campus vehicles, like the student buses and stuff?
Yeah, we provide them, and I don't think we do the annual maintenance on them. We just provide them. Yes, sir.
Oh, I just want to check, are there certain services you provide that are billable to a cost center or something like that? So for example, the plan, your building plan, there's a renovation plan or something?
There's no fee for anything right now. We're probably one of the only places on campus that doesn't charge a fee.
Which brings me to my question, how are you funded?
I don't know. It's just, it comes in our annual budget, O&M.
Other questions for the fire marshal? Please.
What is the biggest problem that you see as far as staff are concerned?
As far as
Staff are concerned.
mainly the building inspections, we come in and do it. We'll find a lot of extension cords used in the offices and appliances that overload circuits. Anybody else?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks a
Appreciate
lot.
it. All right. And one of the things that we did for our 30th anniversary was we put together a video, and my note is that I'm supposed to play the video at this point. Is that right? Did we get a link to it up on this computer? All right, I will find a link to it, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and invite our food safety talk to come up front. What was your name, or your names? Carla and Christina, come on up. Would you like an extra mic? You can share that one. There you go.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina, And this is Carla.
And I'm Carla.
And we're here to go over the food safety program here for the university. So just a quick overview of the items we're going to go over is what is a food safety specialist, what are our standards and how do we apply that to our inspections around campus, our current jurisdiction, as well as other services that we provide such as permitting and specialty events. So what exactly is a food safety specialist? Well, the university is on state property, and because of that, the City of Houston and the Harris County Health Department do not have jurisdiction on campus. So this is where the university came up with a food safety program, and Carla and I participate in this. And we ensure that all establishments on campus are following state and city regulations for sanitation.
So what are our standards? Like all health departments in the state of Texas, we do follow TFRA, which stands for the Texas Food Establishment Rules. These are rules that are based in part upon Code of Federal Regulations in which the state of Texas uses as the basis for their policies. Although we follow the same codes and regulations as a city, we do differ in the manner in which we conduct our inspections. So we follow an academic calendar, just like any of our students. So all food establishments are inspected at least once per semester. If deemed necessary, of course, depending on foot traffic or the type of establishment, they can be inspected more than once. So within the university and with follow-up inspections, that can result to an average of up to 6 inspections per year per establishment. And the scores are posted on our website on a weekly basis.
All right, so as I mentioned, we focus on the main campus, which includes 2 dining halls, 30 retail locations, including 7 mini marts around campus, 2 child learning centers, 4 sports facilities, and all the food trucks that come on campus. As of right now, we do not have jurisdiction on the shopping center across the street from Calhoun Lofts, with the Cafe 101, and we do not have jurisdiction over the subway next to textbook brokers. Those are City of Houston property. So the City of Houston has those reports on their website. So other services that we provide here for the university is that we manage the temporary food dealers permit program. So student organizations and UH departments that wish to serve food on campus have to go through our office for approved permits, which include open flame, food permit, and sometimes tent permits, depending on the event. And these bake sales events are randomly inspected by our department, depending on what they're serving. For example, if a student bake sale wishes to cook tacos on site, let's say here at PGH, we will stop by to make sure that they're following all safety regulations for our office. Fairly recently, Texas Food Establishment Rules regulated that each food employee must have a food handler certification as a minimum, and our office assists with offering bilingual training classes for UH dining to ensure that all of our employees are meeting that requirement. We also inspect all football games for all concession stands, as well as baseball, softball, and basketball. And we also cover special events. So fairly last year, we had the Republican candidate debate, and we were there to ensure the safety was being met during those events. We also investigate any reported incidents and complaints that happen on our establishments, and we also train students, student-run events such as Wolf Fest and Mission International, which are usually held outside in Butler Plaza, and we also cover Frontier Fiesta. So, any questions? Yes.
I wanted to ask, because we did a whole bunch of March of Dimes things lately, do you do that?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yes, we do all of their permitting along with all of their inspections.
Do y'all handle the food trucks on campus as well?
I'm sorry?
Do you handle the food trucks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation. Appreciate it. All right. And we do have one more question back here. All right. Well, while I'm pulling up the Staff Council Anniversary video, we will have Mark take that for the question.
I think I saw a slide that stated something about complaints. Where would that go for your office? And is that regarding the food places over in student center as well as satellite?
Yes, so we have a complaint intake form on our website. So if you go to the UH portal and Google food safety, our complaint form will pop up, and just submit it, or you can give Carla and I a call or an email and we'll investigate immediately.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right. So for those of y'all who haven't seen it yet, this is what Office 365 looks like. Ooh, all right. Thank you for the feigned interest. I appreciate that. All right, so you couldn't even put a subject on it, Iggy? Come on. I know. All right. So this video did turn out very well. With any luck, there we go.
On February 28, 1986, UH Chancellor Richard Van Horn signed the charter that created Staff Council. Dr. Van Horn further charged that the council will function as an avenue for staff input, as does the Faculty Senate and the Students Association do for their respective constituencies. The first Staff Council had 19 members, with 16 representatives from specific areas and 3 from at-large positions.
It is with great pride to share this special moment and extend our congratulations to University of Houston Staff Council in celebrating their 30th anniversary. In 1986, the Staff Council became an advisory board to the campus administration and an integral part of promoting the university's mission and staff across campus. That's almost 30 council presidents who have collectively led the council to grow and impact the campus we all know today. Over the years, the Staff Council has touched more than just staff. Their efforts and initiatives have had an impact on everyone in the campus community, including our students. This year, Staff Council's Cougar First Impression is celebrating its 20th year of welcoming students to our campus. This staff-led initiative has become a part of what makes our campus a great place to work and study. So again, I want to congratulate everyone who has been an integral part of Staff Council during the past 30 years and for making a very positive impact on the university. Thank you, and go Cougs.
Today, the council continues to represent the university's professional, management, operational, and support staff in its collective commitment to a shared governance, while working cooperatively with faculty, students, and the administration to achieve a common vision of excellence at the university. Staff Council has grown to include 44 members and has 7 standing council committees, and serves on 20 standing university-wide committees, as well as having numerous short-term committees and university events.
I joined Staff Council in September 2009, and I've held a couple of positions, one of them being co-chair for the events committee. After that first year of Staff Council, I was then nominated for president, which I then became president-elect.
So when I first joined Staff Council, I joined as just a regular member at large, was elected to that position, and then over the course of my time on Staff Council, which I think was about 7 or 8 years, I served in various capacities, committee chair, and then served 2 years as president of Staff Council.
I served on Staff Council a few years prior to becoming the Staff Council Program Coordinator / Manager, and I joined the university in 1986. And from there, I just became actively involved in everything that was going on around the university because I was really interested in finding out how to get involved in other things, how to make changes that would benefit staff as well as students at that particular time.
The first thing that made me want to be a part of Staff Council was a person who used to work here named Bill Ashley. He worked in my department in UIT, and he told me an awful lot about what all Staff Council does. He got me interested in the concept of shared governance and really showed me some ways that I could have an impact on the university outside of my normal job duties.
There are a couple of favorite times that I can remember being part of Staff Council, but I'd have to say being co-chair for CFI, it's such a large event, And the first year around working with it, I had a great crew, or a lot of good co-members that wanted to make sure the event was a success. And I felt really positive about the whole event as a whole, being a first-time co-chair for that committee. But then, of course, staff council president as well was important as well. But working with the group and the community was, I think, top on my list.
I think the most important thing, and you know, it's often individuals look to staff who are on staff council as an opportunity for them to serve, and that's always great, but I think it's also important to recognize the leaders on campus who allow their staff that opportunity and commitment to serve in various capacities, whether that be through staff council or serving in other university committees. It allows them to really have the opportunity for that individual staff member to have some professional growth and to have some buy-in, if you will, to what's happening on the campus. So not just from the time the staff serve, but also from the leaders encouraging that for their staff to, you know, to take an extra effort of being involved on campus more than just the normal day-to-day job that you might do.
It is important that every staff member have an opportunity to attend a staff council meeting because you learn so much. You may learn a little, you may learn a mediocre amount, you may learn a lot just by attending. You get to observe people, you get to observe how things are handled. I always told my children that it's important that you are careful about your association because association brings about assimilation. If you have people coming into these staff council meetings, they are encouraged and they are inspired to see that there are people who are willing to make a difference, and they can make a difference, but they have to come together as one to do so.
Staff council is really an important part of this university. In addition to the Faculty Senate and the Student Government Association, we really, through staff council, have a way to lend our voice to how this university goes, to the direction that we move.
Over the past 30 years, we have watched Staff Council increase its impact on the campus community in both small and large ways. As we reflect on all of our accomplishments, we also look forward to the new challenges in the next 30 years. Thank you to each and every person who has helped Staff Council to contribute to the mission of the campus.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and give out a big thanks on that video to Jamie Thomas. She got everything together, all the people that came in that you saw in that video. She coordinated all of those interviews and really did a fantastic job getting all that together. Again, I'm going to give her a round of applause because she deserves it. All right. Well, there we go. All right, our next presenters are from Human Resources, and which one of y'all is going to come up first? All right, we're going to have Courtney, who's going to come on up and talk about various things, at least one of which I know I'm excited about. I'm not going to steal your thunder, though. I'm not that kind of guy. I got my own thunder.
Well, good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak with you today. So, as many of you know, the university has an employee wellness initiative. It's called Power Up, and it's designed to give employees the opportunity to take part in a number of health and wellness initiatives designed to help you meet your own personal wellness goals, as well as live happy, healthier, more productive lives. So some of these programs you may be familiar with already. I'm just going to mention a few that we've done over the past year and a half. We have our Lunch and Learn Wellbeing Series. We have our Fitness Release Time and Wellness Leave Policy. We had our Art for Your Health walks. We had walks at Hoffheinz. We had mobile mammograms. We had on-site flu shots. We had mindful meditation. We had yoga. We have Weight Watchers, and we're currently recruiting right now for our summer program, which starts May 25th. So please get in touch with me if you're interested. And our most recent initiative is Farm to Work, which takes place every Friday from 3 to 4. So all of this information can be found on our website, uh.edu/powerup. But today what I wanted to talk to you about is really the cornerstone for our program, and that's our Employee Assistance Program, or EAP. This program is an online resource that's available to faculty and staff and their dependents 24/7, and it offers a variety of resources around work life, wellness, and well-being. So some of these topics include what you see here: mental health, legal, financial, identity theft, and the list goes on. So just to give you an example of some of the things that's available through our EAP, confidential short-term counseling services. So employees are entitled to up to 2 sessions per issue. There's also newsletters, self-assessments, trainings, and webinars available online, including resources and referrals on a variety of topics. And you can see a list of these here, and these are only partial. Parenting, there's telephonic referrals for child and elder care. Legal, you're entitled to a 30-minute free session with an attorney. Also, you're entitled to 25% discount on hourly rates if you're seeing him on an issue that requires representation. So there's lots of perks that are benefits associated with this program. I would encourage you to go online and look at the program, play around with it, go through it, see what's available to you. If you don't need it right now, you may need it in the future. And please share this with your colleagues. So I don't know if you're aware, but the university used to have an EAP, and due to budget cuts, it was eliminated. We were able to bring it back. And so it's so important that people utilize it and take advantage of it. So I'd really encourage you to do that. Really explore it. Also, I would like to let you know that it's totally confidential. We don't get any information, personal identifying information on employees. All we get is aggregate data in terms of utilization rates. So, for example, we've seen an uptick in employees who are seeking financial information and resources. So that's good for us to know, because then that drives our programming for all of you. So now I'm going to let our benefits manager, Breion Rollins, talk to you a little bit about some of those efforts.
Thanks so much, and good afternoon. One of the things that Court just mentioned when he talked about the financial uptick that we've noticed in the EAP program, we wanted to be able to supplement that through human resources as well. So if you notice here on the screen, we've got a series called Money Matters Financial Wellness Series. And within that, what we've been able to do is identify things that we've seen throughout the EAP that individuals might be interested in. We actually had our first session last week. It was well attended here in this room. And then we've got sessions throughout the year that end here in September. So we wanted to make sure that, at least in today's event, you all had information about that. So we've got Saving for the Unexpected. That was the first one. I have some materials still available. If people are interested in that, we'll make sure that you all have our contact information and ways to get in touch with us when we get done today. But if you notice, we also have Investing for the Future, Budgeting, Paying Off Debt, and then Managing Credit. All topics that we've seen throughout the EAP, but this gives us an opportunity in human resources to be able to provide something to you all tangible. Each one of the sessions, we make sure that there is some type of presentation and then also some type of working environment that you all can work with as well. For example, on Saving for the Unexpected, we had people develop a budget. And with that budget, we had people put aside, okay, what can I do to pay myself first to save for the unexpected? So we'll give you a lot of tools, a lot of opportunity to visit with that. And again, if you have any questions, we want to make sure that you get back with us on that as well. Also, we wanted to share that we've always had ongoing sessions that relate how you can take advantage and maximize the benefits that we already offer here on campus. We've got an incredible retirement platform that you all have an opportunity to visit with through Retirement at Work that we just recently launched. So you can get some information at that with Retirement 101. And we know that open enrollment is right around the corner. And people are probably having questions about, hey, what are my benefits going to look like? What's happening with Blue Cross Blue Shield? What's happening with a variety of things? The Benefit BWise session kind of touches on those, and it also will help prepare you for the open enrollment session that we'll have here in July. And we know that the Benefit Fair is a big event. We've got that Benefit Fair scheduled for July 12th, so those details are starting to trickle down as well. So you'll see more information coming out of Human Resources for that also. One last piece that I wanted to bring up before I close is we also have the Staff Awards that is available and it's open, and those nomination period will go until June 2nd. That information is on the homepage of the Human Resources website, and you all can get that information as well for any questions that you have with us. So that's all the remarks that Courtney and I had. Were there any questions? I see one in the back.
Hi. Regarding the benefits of mental health for staff and faculty, where would a staff member access that information?
You could go online or you can call the EAP directly. And let's see, I'll back that slide up if I can. Oh, I missed it. Right there. Well, no, one more. There you go. So if you just go online, we have a question and answer page that walks you through the EAP, and then you can access it directly. But you can also call them directly for that information, and they'll set you up and take care of you. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Would the referrals be for out in the community?
The referrals would probably be to a provider in your insurance network. So yes, it would be in the community. It wouldn't be here on campus. You're welcome.
Other questions? All right, let's see if we can do this without feedback.
First, Courtney, thank you so much for bringing some of the programs over to ERP. It's very appreciated. Look forward to additional opportunities that are perhaps without cost. But I do appreciate that we're getting attention over at ERP. And second, with the workshops that you're hosting, could you post that information on the website so we can retrieve information from there as well?
You're asking if I could post it in additional places besides the wellness page?
No, I'm sorry. It's actually for you, Courtney. I was thanking you for giving attention to some of the people at ERP, so that we have some programs over there. I appreciate that, and that was follow-up from last year when you first introduced the wellness program, and we made mention that ERP also has needs. So I appreciate that you followed through on that. Okay. And then the second was for, I'm sorry, that
Breion.
Breion, yes. Breion, for those workshops that you present, could you make that information available post-presentation online?
Yeah, definitely. We can do that, and we'll also be sending out periodic newsletters and things like that that will market and promote those programs as well. But we'll make a note to put it on the website also.
Sure. And one other thing with those that take advantage of not was it Health Select? Instead, it's Kelsey Care.
Mm-hmm.
So we miss out on some of the opportunities that are being provided by the Health Select. Is there any movement on making those same types of opportunities for people that? And the other is also with the School of Optometry. Since we can't, with Kelsey Care, we can't take advantage of the resource that we have here on campus with Kelsey Care. Is there any consideration being made to allow that?
No, and those are great questions, so thank you for that. In regards to the School of Optometry, I don't have an answer for you on that yet, but I'll definitely do some research and get back with Andy to kind of discuss maybe some ways that we can incorporate them more into the program, similar to what Health Select does. But to reference your initial point, Courtney and I actually had a visit with Kelsey earlier this year to talk about ways where we could expand what they're doing not only on the benefits forefront, but also the wellness forefront. So we anticipate some things happening here in FY18 that will incorporate Kelsey into some of the items that we've been doing for Health Select as well.
Anybody else have any questions?
I recently had used the legal advice part of the EAP. When my mom passed, I had some questions on probate, and it worked fantastically well, right? 30 minutes free consultation. I had all my questions written out. I was done in 28 minutes, had all my questions answered. So I really encourage people to utilize that. My question is, how often do I get those 30 minutes? Is it once per year, once per issue per year? How does the free legal consultation work?
My understanding is that it is once a year, but don't quote me on that. I'll have to look that up and research it. If I could get your information before you leave today. I think it is once a year, but let me verify that so I can be correct.
Do you think as a university we will ever reach a level where the scholarships for tuition assistance aren't scholarships and they're actually basic benefits for employment? Because there's a lot of other institutions that offer those automatically, make them a little bit more competitive than we are.
I would say at this point, we may not be able to speak to that directly, but let us go back and do some research and see maybe if there had been some discussions in the background related to that. And if this is the first time that it's been brought up, we can definitely research what it might look like as an institution. So give us a chance to get back with you on that, and I'll get with Andy again on that answer as well. Any other questions? Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if I can turn this down to the point that I don't get feedback. There we go. All right, I just learned that the president is running a little bit behind. So I'm going to, we'll just start off with a couple of things that I wanted to mention anyway. I did mention, or we did show the video here. That video is going to be hosted on our website, and I believe that we'll also get it sent out in the next newsletter. So if you didn't get a chance to hear that, I understand it was not easy to hear throughout the room. You will have the ability to get to it later on. In addition, keep in mind our nominations for staff council elections open today. Isn't that right, Mark? Or are getting ready to open today? Yes. So if there's anybody that you know that you think would be good for staff council, or if you think that you would be good for staff council, please nominate that person or nominate yourself. Self-nominations are absolutely welcome. We will be opening up, we will be doing our staff council elections a little bit differently. Historically, we've only done them on 2 days in July. This year, since most of the election will be online, we're just going to open it up for basically about a month. So you will have an opportunity to vote for quite some time. We will be linking through Access UH so that you can get to that stuff. We had one special presentation that we wanted to do towards the end, but since we're waiting for the president to get here and talk, and I know that ultimately that's why y'all came. I mean, I get it. You didn't come to see me. Come on. But I do want to give some special recognition to one of our staff council members who has been absolutely instrumental in so many efforts that I probably couldn't list them all, even if I did have an extra 20 minutes before the president showed up to do it. We probably couldn't get by in a lot of areas without the help of Miss Rebecca Schwartz. You're welcome to come on up if you like, Rebecca, or you can wait for just a little bit if you like. But Rebecca is currently the co-chair of our Professional Development and Scholarships Committee, which means that she is central in the distribution of the scholarships for both staff council as well as the Women and Gender Resource Center. So that's what she's doing now, but at one point or another, I think that she's chaired every single committee in staff council. Am I mistaken? Which one have you not? All right, Ruben, membership and elections for next year, just so that she can complete the gamut of chairs of our committees. So we do have a plaque here to present to Ms. Rebecca Schwartz for her dedication, knowledge, and support of staff council initiatives, which benefit staff for over 15 years, given to her on this day. I personally can't express the amount of institutional knowledge possessed by Rebecca, and deserving of the applause. And I couldn't possibly list the number of questions she's answered and the number of times that she's helped me out with various and sundry things throughout my tenure on staff council. So with appreciation, thank you, Rebecca. There's the flash. That means it worked. Thank you so much. B. Renee is insisting that you speak. B. Renee is insisting that you have something to say.
Thank you very much. This was very unexpected. As he said, I am co-chair of Professional Development Committee. So one of the things we do are the scholarships, and we have several scholarships that we collect money for. So if I can take this opportunity to, you know that we're in a campaign, and it does count if you donate money to the scholarships. We have three of them, or three funds, I should say. We have the Roger Peters, which is for any staff member who is taking classes. We have the B. Renee Students of Staff Scholarship, which is for dependents, your children, your spouse, anyone like that. And then we have another one that we haven't been giving out because we don't have enough money in it, but it's a professional development scholarship, which we hope once we have money, we'll be able to reimburse people for classes that they take other places, or for conferences, or certifications, or webinars, or any professional development opportunity. So we hope we'll go for that. And then just one more thing. He mentioned elections. Our president-elect, Ruben Parrish, is running for re-election. So if you're in student affairs, please vote for him.
Please vote for Ruben. We'd really like him to actually serve as president. Absolutely. Well, again, we have a little extra time. If any of y'all have any questions, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and allow I'm not certain what the thumbs up means, but I appreciate it, B. Renee. I'm going to take it as you're doing a great job. And we appreciate it. For those of y'all who don't know, this is Peggy Levy, policies and procedures guru for the system.
Hi. I wanted to talk to you about Take Your Child to Work Day. It is the first pilot program in about 15 years. It originally came up as a Conversations with Staff initiative in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. It is now 2017, and we have a pilot program for you. We have 44 spots left before we hit the number of 200 children for this program. Next year, we are hoping to make it an even better program than this year. Each child gets a backpack and a lanyard and a badge so that they are actually here on campus like a person. So I want to encourage you to encourage others who have children to actually come and do an event this year in the morning. And as a side bonus, you will get a voucher for your child to eat free at the Fresh Food Company.
Very much. All right, and now I'll open it up to any questions that y'all might have for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything to do with staff council. I answer questions about virtually anything. Please.
For the Bring Your Child to Work Day, what age range are you guys?
The age range for the Take Your Child to Work Day is 8 to 13. We're trying to, keep away from, kids in diapers and kids that are totally uninterested in being there, which would be over about 13. So yeah, that's our age range. Will be 8 to 13. Which areas still have spots open? Do you happen to know? The library is doing a program. They still have spots open. The College of Business, Bauer College of Business, and College of the Arts. They are so all of the for your information. The way that the Take Your Child to Work Day is working is that we have several different areas within the university that have agreed to hold programs for the kids in the morning. So throughout the morning, they'll be doing various activities depending on where they go. The arts will do something, well, probably arty would be my guess. I would, assume the library's doing something around books or reading. Or a scavenger hunt. That sounds like all kinds of fun. Did you have a question about Take Your Child to Work Day? That's awesome.
We had to mark preference of what we wanted our child to do. When will we find out what we actually are going to do?
Very soon. Did you have to reassign anyone? Or okay, so there were some reassignments because of overbooking and that kind of thing, but they are going to be letting people know very soon because we're less than a month out from it. So we will definitely let you know in the very near future. Other questions? Oh, awesome! Take Your Child to Work Day interest. Something different. All right, so we're going to move on to something different. Here we go.
Okay, no, I just wanted to know, as far as the parking issues, what else is being done to maximize parking aside from people joining the COAST program in order to alleviate space?
And the information that I had about increases in parking, the biggest thing is increasing the actual number of spaces through like garage construction and that kind of thing. They're starting on a garage over by the Law Center. I think that they're starting that this summer. And then of course they've moved all of the economy parking off of campus. All of the economy parking is now over at ERP. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my go-to representative on the Transportation and Parking Committee is going, huh? So you're going to answer? Oh.
What I was going to say is I'm a member of TPAC, and that question has come up several times. I've made sure to bring it up to the committee. When I did, what the response was is that we would definitely need to look into that to make sure that there are enough shuttles running throughout the campus, so that way individuals that are parking over at ERP can quickly get to campus and to the offices or wherever they need to be. But we will continue to bring it up.
And we also continue to bring up kind of out-of-the-box type suggestions. For those of y'all who don't know, there's a new greenway trail along the bayou back here. The easiest way to get to it is if you walk across the street from optometry. And that trail goes along the bayou, from what I understand, all the way down to Forest Lawn Cemetery. He wants me back at the front. Podium, okay. Apparently I need to be at the podium. All right, so, and that greenway trail has a place where it can be connected to the back of ERP. So some of the things that we've asked for parking and transportation to look at are things like, in addition to the actual shuttles, maybe having like a tram, an extended cart that might be a little bit faster at getting people back and forth from the ERP parking lots to campus. So we continue to bring those things up. And I would encourage you, any of you all that have any kind of suggestions, and, I would say any kind of suggestions, don't even worry about filtering them all that much. Feel free to send them in through through the people you know on Staff Council. If you don't know anybody on Staff Council, we've got an email address, staffcouncil@uh.edu. You're welcome to send your comments in there. And and then my lovely assistant Mark is going to come up to the front here and grab this mic so that Amy can ask a question.
Mine is also related to parking,
Yes.
and I want to know what's the best way as staff that we can advocate for when you put it in light of a budget concern, budget reductions, the cost of our benefits increasing, and parking is also increasing. In fact, economy has more than doubled over the last 5 years. There's about a 70% increase over the last 5 years for the ungated staff lots, and not much by way of our benefits in general. So I'm wondering, what is Staff Council doing to help advocate for our best and brightest as far as staff? What can we do to advocate for ourselves in a more productive way? And I know that we do have Staff Council representatives on the TPAC, and I was at one of the meetings where they approved the rate increase. Was only able to listen, but the surface lot parking, having to absorb more of the debt servicing for garages is also a concern because we don't reap any of the benefits of those garage lots. Coupled with safety concerns, I appreciate that we're informed, but at the same time, it's so alarming the number of incidents that we have on campus, even in broad daylight. It's better to know than to not, but I want to know how we can best advocate as a staff council and as staff members for retaining our best and brightest.
Okay, and you're talking specifically around parking, or are you just talking about more in general? Okay. Would my TPAC members have any suggestions for other ways that staff members could advocate aside from through our staff council members and the TPAC committee? I tell you what, I see all the emails that go through to staffcouncil@uh.edu. If nothing else, you're welcome to send that email to me, and I will make sure that it gets in front of somebody who works in those areas. Because to some extent, I think that just having a groundswell of comments might tell them what's going on with us. Please.
One thing I want to mention in regards to being part of TPAC is that as the cost of parking does go up, unfortunately, it was a financially necessary increase for the parking department. Now, in regards to the staff and how important that the staff are in here on campus, Andy as president, myself as past president, and Ruben as president-elect, we meet with administration on a regular basis and definitely voice all of the concerns that you just expressed. We definitely want to make sure that there's some kind of increase if possible this year. We know that there's tight budget cuts. What is it that we can continue to do to keep morale up and parking costs low, or staff salaries, equal to the amount of increases that continue to occur? I understand what you're saying, but we definitely advocate as much as we can.
Just a clear pathway on how to advocate.
All right, so it sounds like maybe we need to be communicating more directly with you about how these decisions are made, what all goes into those decisions, and we will definitely try to include more of that information in our newsletters. And because I am fully aware that y'all weren't here to listen to me. We do have our special guest who is arriving right now. All right. So are there any last-minute questions before we turn the podium? Please. Okay, the comment was that we do have a SharePoint site where you can get a lot of our information, including meeting minutes and that kind of thing. And if you have any questions about how to get into that, feel free to contact me directly, andy@uh.edu. And without further ado, please welcome President Khator.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for being a little late. We had a donor lunch and I got a little bit delayed, but I'm happy to be here. So first of all, if you notice anything in my voice, the little heaviness, crackiness is from all that screaming, yelling in Austin. It just gets a little too much. And I'll give you a little bit of update what's going on. But first of all, let me congratulate you and let me thank you for graduating 8,690 students this weekend. Now, we do know that students, of course, get their educational experience in the classroom, but everything outside of the classroom depends on where you touch and you feel, and even indirectly the classroom experience, you touch that too. So this year we instituted a new survey of 13 questions to students. And those 13 questions are the questions I wanted to know, simple things, none of the details, about parking, about your food service, about your inside classroom service, about your academic service, and all of those, just the 13 simple questions. And guess what? There are only 2 questions in there which have to do with predominantly where the faculty's expertise comes in. The rest, all the questions are where their experience is touched by you. So for graduating those 8,690 students, of course, I do give thanks to the faculty who you deserve as much or more thanks for it, from everything from their entrance to their first experience, to getting them to register for classes, getting them to get certified, their advising, your food, meal, every single thing, you touch their lives. So this year was our largest crowd ever, and the youngest one to graduate was 19 years old, so obviously a lot of help was needed. And the oldest one to graduate was 86 years old, right? So there is hope for all of us if we want to get the next degree, right? Also, this is how incredible the U of H can be, and this is how incredible you can be. That there's a student, Gabriella, who has 2 heart transplants, and the second transplant is also now being rejected. So miracle, we can pray to God. But she really wanted to come for graduation, and she could not. So guess what? Graduation went to her. The dean and the people went over, gave her the diploma in hospital, in ICU. Now, that's who we are. And I say that simply because that is what tells you when we walk the extra mile. It's one thing to say I did my job, it's totally other thing to say that I did everything possible. And that is the difference between good and great. That is the destination, that's the journey we have chosen to take, which is we are building an institution that was great, but we want to make it greater. And in order to do that, we have done several things, and now we are swimming in big ocean. That means things are never going to get easier. Things will always get a little more intense, a little more edgy, a little more competitive, but that's all. That's what the fun is. Static things are never good. We know even if the water is static, it also becomes stale and it also becomes unpleasant, right? So everything has to move on. The thing is, you can move on either toward good things, higher things, or you can continue to move toward down things or worse things. Well, nothing is acceptable to us unless it's something higher, something better, something toward excellent. So saying that, giving you all the thanks, let me tell you now, a few more days left, about 14 more days left to finish this legislative session. However, all the bills and everything, it's 2 more days, and after that, everything gets shut down, finished, because they have to print everything, and then everything has to go to the floor. So we have 2 more days of actual, real good work left in Austin. Right now, people are saying it could be a special session because the number one thing and the only mandatory thing that the legislature has to do when they meet is to pass the budget. And constitutionally, they have to balance the budget, which means they cannot spend more than what they have, what the comptroller gives them the money for. So where we are right now with the budget, if the budget is not settled, and right now the 2 budgets, House budget and the Senate budgets, are far apart. They are far apart in the amount that they are spending, meaning House is spending a lot more than Senate is, and also in the approaches they want to take as to how to spend the money. So if they can come to some resolution, there may not be special session. Otherwise, my trips to Austin will continue in June and July and good now, who knows how long. But so budget is one thing, and there is a serious budget this time. Last session was the year or the budget for the higher education. This year, higher education has been on the defensive from day one. It is not a good year for higher education. Everyone started with that to get-go. There's not going to be a good year for higher education. The latest estimated that higher education could lose as much as 6% of their base. Now, it's not a pretty picture, and that's the reason we started to kind of get prepared for it. About 3 weeks ago, I asked all vice presidents to prepare for a 5% budget cut from academic units and 7% budget cuts from non-academic unit. Because if we do get the budget cut, we will have to obviously make some adjustments because we cannot spend more than what we are given. But outside of budget, there are many other very challenging pieces. And one of them is, of course, you know that the Sanctuary City bill has been passed. People asked, what is the impact on us? And we had Donna Cornell, our general counsel, come to the Faculty Senate meeting to explain as to how that impacts us. But there are many other pieces that have impact on us, whether it's financial or whether it's non-financial. It is time for anxiety among our students. So what I'm going to just request to you, just because there's so much anxiety and fear and just lack of information or lack of understanding is going on, that if you do find the students, and chances of you touching the students are far more than chances of me touching the students, just because you are there for them. If you find that they are really anxious, just make sure to refer them to resources that the university has so they can get the up-to-date latest information, rather than simply, dismissing, which I know you would never do. But even that they shouldn't feel that they have been dismissed, because some of these anxieties can be fairly serious. You also know that we are in a hiring freeze as per the governor's order and for this year, remainder of this year. And we started this hiring freeze for last, I think, 2 months ago. So we cannot hire anybody until August end. And it will depend on what the budget eventually comes out to see whether we can start to hire again or not. So this year is a tough budget year for us, but we'll do our best. We'll figure it out, how to continue to proceed. Because as I've always said, we've set the goal. Our goal is moving toward excellence, getting better, going higher, and those goals, those aspirations should always remain intact. How we do that, how best we can do that, well, that's where our individual values and the institutional values will come in place. So once this budget is passed, we're going to sit again and we're going to see, okay, what is it that we have to work with? But at this point, you can count on that. At this point, at least at this point, as of with everything, all the information knowing, I would like to take to the board when time comes in August about the increase in the faculty staff salaries. We are still keeping that, and we think it's viable to do that unless we get really serious further slashing of the budget, because then it would get very hard. Okay, leaving legislative thing aside, now it's as to where the university is going, about a few things. I'm just going to be very quick because then I want to see what's on your mind. And this may not be things that you are individually thinking, but this is an opportunity to know where university as a whole is headed. So first of all, I'm always very committed about student success, right? So our graduation rates, they have to keep on getting higher. This year, we might finish at 54% graduation rate, which is going to be average in the state of Texas. However, we have to go and pass the average for the national average, national statistics, and we have to drive it over 60% in next couple of years. And I think we are doing well because 70% of the students now are coming in the UHN4 program that the provost started, which means the students' tuition is frozen, and for next 4 years, they get their seats, and they get their mentoring, advising, and they have their tuition frozen so that they can just graduate. But obviously, in order to graduate in 4 years and taking 120 credit hours, they have to take 30 credit hours per year, because without that, the math doesn't work. So that means they cannot waste too many credit hours. That right now, number one issue for us is that an average student is walking across that stage not with 120 credit hours, but 150 credit hours. Okay, if you are double majoring, that's another issue. But if you're majoring, you're getting one major, why should you be taking 150 credit hours? That is the reason I attend freshman classes. This is one of the things I tell them, but there are few more my messages. I let them know very first semester, first week, that unless you get focused, you will end up taking 150 credit hours, 30 credit hours worth of more headaches, more exams, more quizzes, sleepless nights, more fight for parking. Why do you want to do that? Just stay focused and graduate. And if you do like us so much that you want to take 150 credit hours, then work with your advisor, get it all sorted out so you can take 6 more credit, and in 156 credit, you can get your bachelor's and your master's degree, right? And that's how we're going to change the culture. Students are now taking full amount of load. There was a time when advisors were advising, don't take more than 9 credit hours. Well, the students are taking 12 and 13 credit hours now on an average and doing very well with those credit hours, because when you learn how to do your time management, you don't have to do that if you don't have enough pressure on your time. But one of the advantages is when you have pressure on your time, you also learn the skills that are going to be useful for you the rest of your life. So the students are doing better, they're retaining better, and hopefully we'll keep on passing them in a timely manner. So, that is one thing, and that's your help is absolutely essential regardless of what we do. So that's our goal. But after this, there are 3 other major things that we are doing at the university. One of them is our $1 billion capital campaign. And thank you to all faculty, staff campaign has been quite successful. We're going to raise $1 billion for this university, and the last money that was raised was $300 million in a campaign, and that was 27, 28 years ago. So we really haven't had the culture, but we're going to raise that, and we publicly launched it at this point, and we are close to $735 million having raised. And we're going to raise it in 2020. That's our timeline to raise it. And then we'll take maybe a year worth of rest, and then we'll start on second $1 billion campaign. Because we do need funding for our scholarships, we do need funding for our endowship, our academic programs, And there's just a lot of things that we have dreams for. And so therefore, so far the project has been really quite successful because we have had people who have never given to us. And last year alone, we got 2 grants of $20 million, so 2 big donations of $20 million each. One was for fixing the almost major, huge renovation to the Hofheinz Center, which will become the Fertitta Center. And then other one was to the College of the Arts by Catherine McGovern. The first building or college name, not building, the college named after a woman, and the first college to be named after our own student, former student. So, which is, both things were important. Now, that's one. Second thing, what we are doing is in the neighborhood. If you recall, we talked about it, that we need to have a Tier 1 neighborhood for the Tier 1 university, because, think about it, if the neighborhood was really doing economically well, had art galleries and restaurants and all kinds of things so the people can just walk out during lunchtime and come back. Our students were living here. The community supporting university, university supporting community. The people who are living there do not get displaced but become part of this growing, vibrant economy. I mean, that is what the university in their neighborhoods do. So that's where we have a project going on for now 2.5 years at least, working with the neighborhood leaders and asking them what is it the university can do, not saying we know what's best for you, but basically saying we are here are the resources. Can you help us identify how can we help you, if at all? And this has been a great effort, because we've taken 6 public schools in the neighborhood and saying these failing public schools will not just become passing, but these schools will become academically excellent. So 4 of those 6 schools are now average, so they're passing, but they're not academically excellent. We're going to drive all of them, and 9 colleges are involved. It takes everything from taking care of their food, to their health, to their social needs, emotional needs, mental needs, and their academic tutoring, whatever it takes. We said if we take the goal, let's do whatever it takes. And it's nothing new because we were already giving 1 million volunteer hours among faculty, staff, and students. 1 million hours a year that university people were giving to the community. All it is let's just focus them, channel them so we can get the needle to move. That's all it is. We are also doing boot camp for starting small businesses. Last semester, we had 15 members go through, the residents of Third Ward go through the boot camp, thanks to a program in Bauer College of Business. And 9 out of those 15 started their own small business. So it's a pretty good program. We're going to support them for 3 years, supporting meaning whatever help they need, watching over them, supervising, giving them, small help here and there, connecting them with people. And just see, after 3 years, we say, okay, now I know that you will survive. This semester, 11 residents are going through that, because the goal is that 35 are small businesses, thriving businesses from the residents there. We are also doing lots of health-related work, which is lowering obesity and lowering substance abuse in the population, because that's what people said is they would like to have. And then 4th one is our arts program, building a bridge between arts that's going on in Project Row House there and the arts, College of the Arts that we have here. So we have some fellows here right now, but a lot of joint programs, because there's nothing that connects people, nothing that builds bridges faster than the language of the arts, whether it's music or performance or visual. So we are using all the talent that we have here. Okay, so this is the neighborhood initiative. If you are involved, great. If you're not involved, do get involved. Dr. Elvin Lee is supervising it. We have all kinds of programs. Students started a program called Kitchen Campus. They're taking all the food that gets left in the cafeterias, and it is immediately the same day with passing all of the approval things, it's immediately delivered in the Third Ward. There are lots of those kinds of things. There's a Blackshire elementary school that had its, I believe it was their 100th year anniversary, and the Board of Visitors from the University of Houston just wrote the check for the gala, what they wanted to do. the new uniforms. I mean, in small ways, in big ways, people who are within the university, those who are our alumni, everybody sort of helping. It would be really nice. It would be a great contribution. Again, walking, along, but taking one extra mile toward the goal. So that's what that is. And finally, we continue to still plan for having an MD degree here, which is medical school. Now, what you need to know is, it's not like a $1 billion medical school that Baylor is or UT Health is. We are building a college, just like College of Engineering, College of Pharmacy, within the University of Houston, one more college. The college will offer MD program, and what that will do is that will actually allow us to look at healthcare in a very integrated manner. And there are some very special features of that curriculum. When we come out and roll it out, I think it would be very fascinating. So for instance, our goal is to produce more primary care physicians. Now, how do you know that these people are going to graduate and then stay in their communities and serve the communities? The entire training program is such so that they are not lured by big hospitals, that they always stay connected with the communities and with clinics. So we have the program, you have team of MD students, pharmacy students, nursing students, social work students, and psychology students in a team assigned a family in Third Ward. And you stay with that family, the whole team, for all your 4 years of education. Now you learn how to prevent disease, you learn how to take care of intergenerational issues, and you learn how to really connect with people and not just having patients as numbers. So these are some of the really very good inventions in how to prepare doctors of tomorrow that existing medical schools will find it very difficult to do because you're talking about complete change in culture. But if you're starting from fresh, from ground up, you could actually experiment with those. And there are examples in the country where they have been done. So we have not gone to the legislature with any kind of approval yet, but after the session, we'll take our application, we'll go to the coordinating board, we'll need hospital partner, we are working on that. We're going to need naming gift, we're working on that. And all of these things, once we put it all together, hopefully in 2019, we can take it to the legislature, and once the legislature approves it, we can have the first class come in 2020. That's the timeline, that's the guiding post that we are working toward it. But one thing is absolutely certain. If we want to do it, and if we are going to do it, we will do it for the right reason, of the right type of program, because otherwise you don't need another headache. Because there's a very good saying in the president's word that the two things that bring presidents down are the jocks and the docks, right? So we don't have docs, keeping an eye on jocks. So basically, why do you get a second element if you don't need to? So it's not really any kind of thing that we have to have it. I just think having an MD program, a College of Medicine, will help all other colleges, will help the overall experience of students here, but at the same time will serve the communities in Houston that are least served at this point. You don't have, thank you. So if you can do it for the right reason, for the right cause, the right way, we'll do it. Otherwise, nobody's telling us. There's nobody who says you have to do it. The board doesn't say you have to do it. The legislature is not saying you have to do it. So we have the luxury of doing it in the right manner. So we'll just keep walking through, and as time comes, we're going to have open forum, town hall meetings, so people can keep on learning more and seeing how it's going to impact us. So these are the things that are going on for the university right now. And at this point, let me take a break and let me see if you have any questions. And I may not be able to know very specific individual questions, but I can definitely address things that are at my level.
You mentioned about the Third Ward. I do a lot of volunteer servicing within the Third Ward. Who can I connect with to talk about what I'm already doing and connect it with the actual university?
Perfect. Because it is really the connection of lots of different projects that have been pulled together. So please do contact Dr. Elvin Lee And in case you don't know how to or where to contact, his last name is Lee, L-E-E, and first name is Elwyn, E-L-W-Y-N. He is our Vice President for Neighborhood and Strategic Initiatives. If you, for any reason, if you are unable to do that, just send me an email, president@uh.edu, and I'll connect you personally. Actually, I see Carl sitting here from Dr. Lee's office. Carl is right. Carl, raise your hand. Okay, so you can get the email for Dr. Lee right here. That's perfect. I just saw you. Yes, sir.
Questions. On the other campuses or other locations, how does the Sugar Land and Katy and the Northwest campus fit into the big picture here?
Great question. So Sugar Land, as you know, is a branch campus of the University of Houston. It is no longer a system site where all universities come and offer programs. It is now 100% University of Houston's program. It's just a different location. We did that because that's what Sugar Land community wanted. And I don't have a count exactly how many degrees we are offering right now, but the plan is that the Sugar Land campus will grow up to 10,000 students in future years, and we will be offering at least 25 full degrees at Sugar Land campus. But right now, a lot of courses are being offered. Students take classes. Many of our students take one class here, one class at Sugar Land, one class online. And we have at least a dozen degrees that are completely offered on Sugar Land site. And we have community college there, so it is a full thriving campus at this point. Katy, we are just offering right now some classes in engineering, but UH Victoria is offering several degrees and programs in Katy. The whole plan is we purchased land, and we are putting a campus in Katy right on 99 and 10, right. Right there, we have a campus coming, which will be 8,000 student campus, and there will be 4,000 students from University of Houston and 4,000 students from University of Houston, Victoria. They will offer degrees entirely separate from the degrees that we will offer from U of H. The degrees that will be offered from U of H will be predominantly, not all, but the number one driving force there will be College of Engineering. In Sugar Land, there's a College of Nursing is there, and College of Technology will be the main driving force there in Sugar Land. They'll have presence here, they'll have a huge operation here, but big driving force there too. Okay, Northwest, we are pulling out of Northwest. UH Downtown will be offering the programs in Northwest because of pro forma, the financial things, as the provost and the CFO, they revealed to us, it's not possible for us to be there. Sometime in future, once if we secure these two campuses, it might be we might have a role to play there on the north side, but right now we have given entire site to UH Downtown. They want to grow and expand there. And same way like in Pearland, it's all given to UH Clear Lake so that they can expand and grow there. What we have noticed is that when you have a multi-institutional system site, nobody owns it. Nobody's accountable to it. So what we are trying now is to see one campus, one university responsible for a branch campus.
Good afternoon, President Khator.
Hi.
Hi. My question is about mental health. Are there any new initiatives on your agenda and/or horizon that would bring more support or foster a little bit more mental health for our students here for their success?
Right. Yeah, so we may not have a choice because there is a bill there that just sets a number of students per mental health counselor. But we, as I learned, we do have a very high ratio of students to mental health counselor, and the need is growing exponentially. I mean, the times are different. Universities were not doing many things before what we are asked to do today. And when the dollars are shrinking and you are expanding the services that you provide, it gets really very tough. So Dr. Walker is putting, some additional mental health counselors. And eventually, we have to look for the space because he says that he's run out of space as well. So both the space and the personnel. But we understand that, number one, we are not where we need to be, and number two, that the need is growing much faster than we can catch up with it.
Hi, Dr. Khator. Just wanted to point out we have a few of our best and brightest here that work on the back end and don't, they're not very visible very often. Matthew Castillo with Web Services makes the magic happen on our websites, and Andy Moon, who helps integrate the tools. And we also, I work in enrollment services, and we have one of our developers here who I think she's just brilliant. Meredith, I'm gonna call you out. I see you there. So what we're doing to speak towards your comment about student success and advising, what we've been doing in enrollment services is trying to convert a lot of the actual paper-based forms that we require our students to shuttle all around the campus into some electronic documents, and more so to live within our supported tools, especially PeopleSoft. And many of our developers support the entire system, not just UH main campus. So any influence you might have towards putting additional resources there to help us speed up projects for that will have an impact on the amount of time that advisors have to spend having those important conversations with the students and not worrying so much about all of the paperwork that has to be done. Thank you.
Certainly a good thought. But when the budgets get cut, where I don't have any money, then you just pray and hold on to what you have, you know.
Sure.
Who knows what comes. But there's some very interesting things that reminds me that this board's agenda will be very fascinating presentation from dining services, and you will see some of the changes for the dining area, which is the proposal is that we will keep open 24/7, both the fresh foods and the Cougar Woods. I mean, that will be a huge game changer for students who live on campus, who want to have place somewhere secure to work. You will also see some very interesting changes to the parking thing as well. We're looking at that. And the provost just shared with me all the things, the tools we are using for predictive data analysis on students, so that you don't have to wait till they actually doing poor or are dropping out of class. You have ability to identify and jump in and fix the problem beforehand. So there are lots of those things going on around every division that I feel very proud of, and you know, we can definitely use resources. If we can just get, that's why the $1 billion campaign is important, although money is not being raised for specific things. But we just have to find our collaborators and partners in the private sector, people who care, because our graduates go to their businesses. And it's very heartwarming to see how they're investing in us, because 42% of the money that we have raised so far in this campaign, $735 million, only 42% has come from alumni. Think about it. The rest of this is coming from people who did not go to University of Houston but do believe how important the institution is for Houston. Okay, maybe one or two more questions? Okay.
Dr. Khator, what is the status with U of H's reaction to the UT property? I mean, there was a big hullabaloo when they bought all that land over south of us.
Right. Well, I know as much as you know, which is all I know, is that UT very wisely decided to get out of Houston. So that's where we are.
President Khator, first of all, thank you for almost 10 years of such powerful growth at this university. I appreciate it. I know we all do. Quick question about Austin. Is there any update on Hazelwood?
Okay. I don't know if all of you know what Nancy's asking. First of all, thank you, Nancy. And yeah, I can't believe, 10 years. And this December, I'll finish my 10 years. I just don't even feel like I've 10. I can't believe I've grown 10 years, since I came here. But okay, it's been an absolute joy to be here. I just can't imagine having any more love for a university, even if I had graduated from here. This has just become like yours. So on Hazelwood, what Nancy's talking about is really 3 sessions ago, legislature made a change where not just veterans, but also veterans, families, children, grandchildren, everybody qualified for any kind of degree, even if whether you have used your federal money or not, which created a huge burden on institutions. Great cause. I think we should support it, but the legislature should fund for it because obviously there are additional hours. We need professors, to teach. So at this point, there's $145 million that universities are eating on their own, or in other words, they're distributing on, to big student population in order to cover for it. And if nothing is done, then this cost, according to estimates, will go over $1 billion in a few years. So obviously universities would have a hard time. So our appeal to the legislature was to fund it. And at this point in time, we might get, it hasn't passed yet. It has passed from one chamber, has not passed from second chamber. But my best guess, if you ask right now, is that they might allow us to put in something that requires that a student uses all their money from GI Bill first before they actually come for Texas money, because right now we don't even know. We don't ask that question. That might be a little bit of help, and then we just have to every time make a case and show it to the legislature that it's a great cause, but we are an educational institution. Whoever comes to our door, our passion is to teach them. Passion is to educate them. So we should have no debate about who's coming to the door. That is up to the legislature. But once they determine who should come in here, then the question becomes, well, how are we going to fund it? Because after all, the same credit is the same credit. So that's where it is, unfortunately. Okay, well, thank you all so very much. It's nice to be here with you.
All right. Again, thanks to President Khator for coming and joining us today. Thanks to you all for coming out and joining us today. We really appreciate it. Please eat us out of all the food. I understand they just cut the 30th anniversary staff council cake, so please go get yourself some cake. And if you have any questions, please keep in mind I'm an open book. You're welcome to come up and ask me anything that you like. You can always send me anything that you like at andy@uh.edu. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for coming.